All right. Donald, how you doing?
Hey.
How you doing?
What's up, man? How you doing? Let me ask you a question.
Right.
How has the atheist, I guess, mindset helped out humanity as a whole? Because I haven't seen any atheists, really doing anything to improve, like living conditions here in Austin or in America, or trying to promote, racial harmony, harmony. So my question is, how has the atheists around the world really moved humanity in a better position?
Okay. First off, you see a lot of religious groups doing things to help the world in a sense of, religious charities and donations and organizations and such.
Right.
A large part of that is simply because they have the numbers and the money.
Right.
They have a lot more people in their organization, and they can twist their wording in such a way that you're more likely to give them money, so that they can do things.
So you telling me it all comes down to money?
I have a completely different answer, but we'll let Ashley finish this train of thought.
Two answers, one question.
Okay, all right.
It's not all about money, no.
Right.
In a way, that's partly what we're trying to do on this show, in a very small, in a way that we can do something.
Right.
I can see that, for instance, morality. There are a couple different ways to say that, you shouldn't kill somebody.
True,
and
true.
There's one way to say that, well, if you kill somebody, you're going to go to jail.
Right.
That's one way. You could say, well, you can't kill somebody because God says it so.
Right.
Or you could say, you really shouldn't kill somebody because that kind of sucks for them. And if it sucks for them, chances are people who know them are going to come out and whoop you.
Right.
So there are different ways that you can come at morality. I think a religious-based morality is a very weak one. And so if everybody just believes in God and does things because God says that do this and don't do that, as soon as you start chipping away at the idea that God may actually exist, their whole morality tumbles with it.
Okay,
and we have had people on the show that says, yeah, if I found out tomorrow that God didn't exist, then yeah, sure, I'd kill people and steal their cars. Why not?
Right. So, you telling me that people are born knowing right from wrong and don't need a religion towering over them to tell them right from wrong?
No, people are not born knowing right and wrong. Little kids do not know right and wrong. They beat each other up to take their toys and take their ice cream.
So,
it's in that period of your life that you start learning that to get along with other people, you have to follow certain rules. You can't knock them over and take their ice cream cone because you're not going to be able to play with anybody.
True.
And so we have to start, we learn these laws and these rules because we live together.
Okay, so how does the atheist guide his or her life?
By those exact same rules. I realize that to live in society and live with other people and cooperate and make my life good, I have to treat other people well too.
So that goes back to my question: how has the atheist gone out into the world to try to spread this? To me, it's a common sense message. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and again, this.
Yeah, I can maybe take a stab at it now.
Okay, partly we do have a small numbers. We have done the AIDS Walk in Austin.
Okay.
We've donated money to that. We've done the Safe Place. Yeah, the Safe Place for women in abusive relationships and stuff like that.
Right.
We've donated money and gone on that walk.
Okay.
We have gone up to Washington to say, religion mixing with government is typically not a good thing, and so we've given speeches and stuff like that.
True indeed. Okay.
We have done our thing, but again, our numbers are relatively small, so we can't go on TV and buy up a news network, and 4 digital channels to start spreading our message.
Yeah.
Okay then.
So, and done.
So yeah, let me take a little stab at it. I think atheism helps us in that it tells us that we shouldn't rely on gods to solve our problems.
Okay.
That it tells us where not to look for solutions, and so we can avoid wasting our time on things that aren't going to work. We can solve things for ourselves, and science and technology have done a tremendous amount of philanthropy. I was reading the other day, and I don't remember the man's name, but there is a guy who, it turns out, later won the Nobel Prize for chemistry, or biochemistry, I think. And he is responsible for, more or less single-handedly, making our crops so much more efficient, so much more tolerant to different conditions and disease resistant and so on, that he's effectively by himself fed billions of people by this one thing. And I don't know whether he's an atheist or not, but I can pretty much guess that he isn't doing this research in a church. I think he's doing it in a lab. I think he is learning using the tenets of evolution and such, and he's out changing the world. And I can't necessarily claim him as an atheist, but I think that this is the type of thing that we think does work, and is beneficial.
Okay, all right then. But it's my last thing. Then I'm done.
Okay.
Okay, but doesn't man and females on this planet need some kind of rule to guide their lives? Because if you just tell people just to live wild like that, then of course they're going to live wild like that. So that's why the powers that be have chained guard on them, saying,
well we live in a society, we're social animals, right? So you have to have rules that are in effect dictated by the society in order to be a participant in that society.
Okay.
And so yes, absolutely, we can't be wild animals doing just anything we want. And I would say that the fact that we're a social species and the fact that we have to get along and have to work together, and we have these cognitive abilities to communicate to each other and create laws and that sort of thing is part and parcel of that.
Okay, cool. And I agree. Y'all have the first right. Excuse me. Y'all have your First Amendment right to speak your mind. Peace.
Peace.
Thanks for calling.
All right.